Yeah. When did you know you had this type of high value to offer, not so much just to a company, but to other people?
So this is more of a faith question for me.
Okay.
Um, because again, I don't believe that the value is within me, but I believe that the value is in operating ethically. And I just noticed that when you serve in a certain way, that it's just a proper formula for success. And I think it's not valuable to one person, but I think anyone is able to practice this if you understand, again, basic customer service, if you understand how to be honest and create win-win situations with everybody. And again, you have to know your numbers in a business, right? There's some skills that are involved there, but again, I think the formula was fairly simple. And again, it's how much are we willing to sacrifice from ourselves to learn some of these skill sets. Again, I didn't have a formal education where I could say, yeah, my Harvard degree made me very valuable. I went through a lot of experiences in business where I got to observe, and I was just more observant in a lot of those roles as to, hey, when we are paying our drivers well, or when we're paying our employees well, the business seems to grow. When we're treating our customers well, the business seems to grow. When we're on top of our accounts and we're making sure that we're getting the money to funnel through the company and not over investing, we're doing really well. So these are just basic formulas that anyone can apply, and just making sure, again, are we operating in the black or are we operating in the red? How are we operating? There's different formulas of how we can maximize our efficiency to gain the biggest profits, and then doing it in a way where everyone's winning at the same time. Like, we had in that company where we just grew from 1 million to 24 million, we never even had to advertise for employees.
Wow.
And so, we got to see that, hey, you know what? When we treat these people well, they advertise for us. They actually refer everyone to us. And when we're operating in this way too, our customers are doing the same thing. They're referring other customers to us. And people are able to see that, hey, you know what? I don't have to worry when I'm dealing with this company as a vendor, that again, these are creating these win-win situations. So your reputation goes a long ways with you. So treat everyone well along that journey, regardless of how big or small they are. And if you hold those type of values, they're going to play out in your future.
Yeah, well, absolutely, 100%. It's that when I'm hearing you speak, and the one thing that comes to mind is there's a difference between a boss and a leader. A boss tells you what to do, and a leader shows you what to do. And I'm getting
Mhm.
that type of quality from you, that type of characteristic. Where do you think that characteristic comes from, where you take care of your people?
I think that's something that's probably inside of you, but I think maybe it comes from my mom as well, or it comes from the people around me. It's Maybe it's the childhood I grew up with, and I haven't really thought of it in that way. But when I think of it, it's just something that's inside me that this says not to hurt anybody. And so again, where does that come from? Are we taught that? We see it maybe through movies. We maybe see it through relationships. Maybe, for me, it's like I've been hurt in the past. And so if I've been hurt in the past, why would I want to do that to somebody else? And so it's always saying, okay, can I nurture these relationships? And so for me, it's like understanding. And I'll give you an example. So at one of the companies I was working at, the boss would always get frustrated with some of the employees. And the one line that he would always say is like, that's common sense. Didn't you know what to do? Da, 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 da. And I used to always sit in the background and be like, well, no, it's not common sense. And then I told him, I'm like, hey, listen, unless we've trained them in that scenario, then it's not common sense. It may be common sense to you because you maybe been in that situation before, but it's not common sense to everybody unless we actually train people in that situation. So again, when I would see some of these behaviors, then from an observant standpoint, you're able to start seeing, okay, well, hey, is that right? So again, a lot of people, when we're at a job, we look at a situation and we just shake our heads. Sometimes we've seen maybe a supervisor not act properly, maybe we see an employee not acting properly, and so these things are all going back into us. The thing is, like, are we willing to do something about it? Are we willing to create? And what I did for a lot of the companies is I would create these training programs. I would put things into place so that one, the employee would not get frustrated, and secondly, that you can operate a company much more efficiently if there's no disruptions happening from the other side because of lack of knowledge. And I used to realize that the more knowledge that you give people up front, the less problems you're going to have as a company as you grow that business, because there's already an expectation already laid out. There's a way to operate that's already laid out. There's a safety culture that's already laid out. So again, all that's going to equate to running a better business long term and having less turnover with employees.
When I like how you said how you would observe situations and you're like, hey, let's create a program for this. When
Mhm.
did you come to the realization like, hey, I actually can provide a solution for this very problem?